Welcome to the Three Hokages podcast. We're your hosts, Kay, Kareem, and Hanif. Happy Memorial Day, 2025. This Memorial Day, we're actually going to go through we're going to go all over the place. We're going to start with TV, jump to movies, back to TV, and then end with summer convention. So, buckle up, get ready. First thing on the menu is Wheel of Time. I'm not sure if you've heard, but Wheel of Time was recently canceled before he got into this fourth and hopefully final season of an epic fantasy drama. Amazon, I think, dropped the ball on this as far as building up over 3 years worth of fans anticipation to the climactic series ending, and then you cancel it before it even gets to that part. That to me is like a very, very, very big ball drop on their behalf. I don't know why they canceled it. I don't even want to know why at this point. I'm just upset that they did cancel it.
Okay, I'm gonna be not so politically correct. I don't like. I was upset about how it ended because she was whatever. She was not supposed to die at all. She was not supposed to die. She wasn't like she was just supposed to be kind of like put in not in chains, but like she was supposed to be quelled, sort of. But she wasn't supposed to be dead. She has a bigger role to play in the book series.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, Amazon, you can't complain that it's too much money when you gave $40 million for a book that nobody gonna read.
We know what that.
Sure, that $40 million was a bribe to get access to someplace else. That building in DC. But still, like you can't complain that it's money. You can't say that it's not viewership because people were definitely watching. So, what's your reasoning for actually getting rid of it? Like, and again, you can't even say that it's a fun. Like, I know they're gonna say, "Oh, it's financial," and I'm just like, "But you kill people that weren't supposed to be dead, so you're fine." And again, you spent $40 million for something that no one's gonna read because the people that you're aiming it for probably can't read. Sorry, that's rude. That's not. So sorry. But like, it's. You were doing so well. I mean, yes, you have extended it for way longer than it could be. Yes, there were delays in filming, and maybe that's part of it because potentially maybe it would have been like another 2 to 3 years before we got like the next season. Who knows? And maybe the people couldn't stay committed. But now you're left with like a very big moment, and it's just like suckers. No, you're like at this point, Amazon is Paramount or the Warner Brothers. Like,
I was gonna say
y'all
like
are the same
Warner
company.
Brothers when they would just drop in stuff and just like, what are you
Yeah.
doing?
HBO Max,
We're gonna make Batgirl, but we're not gonna release it.
Right.
This
Like
is
you
this is
guys are
money
like
laundering. This is what you're doing.
you're
Money laundering.
exactly money laundering.
pretty much that's what it is. Like you guys are now the Sci-Fi Channel. You do really good stuff, and then we're gonna cancel it. And like just when it's getting super great, we're gonna cancel it.
Cancel the good
The
stuff
money laundering
like
five
Sci-Fi
step
Dark Matter and keep the other stuff like Killjoy. Like Killjoy was okay in the first season. After I was like, what are we doing here?
Right. But Kareem, what let me not talk anymore. What's your thoughts?
I'm not surprised they canceled it. It is. I don't think it's a good move to cancel a show that big in the middle of it. Because to me, I don't know how far the story goes along, but to me, it felt like it was really just getting into the lore. You can't end the season on that big of a cliffhanger and not even announce that there's going to be something to close the story or something along those lines. It just that part of it doesn't make sense to me. Did I enjoy the show? I did enjoy the show. The ending where they left it, again, I'm like you. I don't think that character should have been killed. Um, One of my issues with the show, which I don't believe they had that issue because they had 3 seasons of it, is there are too many moments that they missed where they could have dove into the world itself or dove in more into the lore, and they instead chose to focus on relationship drama, which is to me, it's like I'm here to watch the fantasy part, not so much the drama part. Even though the drama is part of the fantasy can work, but there were too many things that would happen that instead of giving us an explanation of how it worked in that world, it would just be, oh yeah, look at this relationship again. Let this couple have the same argument they had 2 episodes ago, but ignore why this person can now, bend or I'm thinking of the Avatar, but now they can use their
Same
powers
difference.
again, or where this ship is coming from, where this land is coming from, or the history. Like there was so much more they could have gotten into, that they kept focusing on the same relationship
Mhm.
dynamics with every single characters. It was like it was getting tedious in my opinion. But again, when they started focusing more on moving the story forward, that's when I enjoyed it the most. And I do find it's just a weird decision to cancel it right then and
It's super weird and annoying and obnoxious one. Like whatever. Just
there. Because I think it takes away from the trust that people have to watch shows, or to invest time into shows. Because why would you spend 3 seasons watching Wheel of Time when it's only going to be canceled? So the next time they announce some epic fantasy or some big show that has to span multiple seasons, why would you want to spend time watching it if you don't even know what's going to happen next? And I think that is part of the concern that they should have looked into as well. Um, because you're not going to convince viewers to dedicate, hours and weekends or nights binge watching the show when
Mhm.
you're going to see an incomplete story.
basically.
Yeah. So I mean that's our gripe right now in regards to television with Wheel of Time. We're going to take it from TV into films. Memorial Day weekend is synonymous with blockbuster movies, similar to July 4th is synonymous with blockbuster movies. This weekend, Lilo and Stitch came out, as well as Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, which is supposed to be the final Tom Cruise-led Mission Impossible film. For those who can't recall, this is number 7. This is the one with if you base it upon stunts, the first one was with him being held, from the rafters, being parallel to the floor inside of a CIA vault. The previous one, number 6, Mission Impossible, was with him, basically jumping off a cliff on a motorbike and then paragliding onto a moving train. This one here, I think there's several major stunts. I don't know how much of it was actually him in regards to underwater stuff like in the Arctic, but there was also, that you've seen in the commercials and on the movie posters, him on biplanes in South Africa, riding on the outside of a biplane, and then finally, commandeering biplanes and all kind of actions like that. This is a great way, if anyone ever does any other trilogies or multiple movies, this is a great way to provide fan service as well as tie in all loose ends and actual callbacks to previous films. There's callbacks even going into the first movie. There's cameos. But for those who may have not seen previous movies, they do a good job of showing you small snippets of flashbacks of those scenes or references or those characters that they're talking about. So if you're sitting in the theater, you're not totally lost, like, well, who's so and so and why is this important? Why are they showing this? What's that about? They do a really good job of showing those pieces. And there's also a bit of a plot twist of a reveal from I think the 4th or 5th movie, that you think something was supposed to had happened in the 4th or 5th movie, but in this movie they tell you, oh well, because of this was actually what actually was actually happening. I don't want to
Wow.
dive too much into the plot, but without giving away some of those spoilers. But I think this is a good movie. I did not see it on IMAX. I think the action sequence, the major stunt of Tom Cruise on those airplanes would probably look awesome and IMAX, but definitely this was a good movie to close out the series. I found no faults in it. It wasn't any gaping plot holes or anything other than this. Tom Cruise is just. I mean, he's pretty much super. Like, what can this man do that a Marvel Avenger can't do? I mean, this guy is, I mean, his Tom Cruise's next movie, he's literally going to be filming some of his scenes in space with NASA. So anything Tom Cruise can do. I mean, this guy is pretty much a one man Avenger. Like,
Yeah. He'll be in space with no spacesuit. Just
yeah, right. He's gonna be out there, no spacesuit or something. No grappling strings on him, so he's just coasting out there with an asteroid. Who knows? But his next movie is supposed to be in space. If you want to base these movies off of stunts, I would probably say this one was probably better than him holding on to the side of a plane as it's taking off, because this one was more of a prolonged action sequence with 2 different planes that he's traversing. Uh, yeah, I mean, I can focus on the stunt all day without giving you too much of the plot. I mean, if you've seen the previous movie, it goes directly from that one into this one. There's no segue where, okay, well, what's happening? Tom is sitting down having a cup of coffee, and oh, a new. No, this goes directly from the last one when he got that crucifix key, and from the Russian sub to what are you going to do with the key? Everyone in the world is chasing you for this key.
Wow.
Angela Bassett is former CIA director. She's now the president of the United States. She's telling you to come in, surrender yourself. We need that key. The world is in danger. Are you going to let the world burn, or are you going to help us, kind of thing? And this podcast will self-destruct in 5 seconds, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't want to go too deep into it, but I definitely Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is a movie you need to see in the theaters. Do yourself a favor, check it out. This is one summer flick you don't want to miss.
Kareem, you've seen it?
No, I haven't seen it yet. But I am a huge fan of the series. So I did want to ask you, like, how does it tie into part one? But you said it just jumps right into it. It
Um,
doesn't say, well, did you watch the last movie? This is where we left off. It just goes right ahead with it,
no,
which is
no,
good.
it kind of, well, with this one, since I mean Mission Impossible 1, there was no leading up to it. Like there's no recap where it just jumps into we're going on this mission at this embassy. Things go wrong, and Tom Cruise's squad gets all killed except for him. And then you kind of figure out how he got burned and all that stuff with John Voight and everything. In part one, no spoilers because that's this movie came out over 20 years ago, so that's
Yeah.
part one. Part 7 is when I came out. They do reference things in part one. Again, I don't want to tell you what they reference and who they reference because that kind of gives some of the plot away. I guess without giving too much detail, the plot for this one is he's got the crucifix key, like you saw in part 6. The world is after it. I mentioned Avengers because there's an AI entity that's taking over cyberspace, kind of like what we got in current day, where people are not able to discern fake news from real news, and now countries that have nuclear weapons are not sure what truths are actually fact, or what truths are real and what truths are not real, because of everything's being subjected to cyberspace, and this AI entity, also called the Entity, is taking over computer networks that are connected to the nuclear arsenals across the world. So, Israel, Islamabad, like Pakistan, Russia, China, Britain, France, America, all countries that have nuclear weapons. Slowly, country by country, their nuclear weapons are being taken over by the Entity, and so they're fearful that once the Entity takes control of all the nukes, it's going to cause a nuclear warfare, kind of like Skynet, kill all the humans, kind of thing. So Tom Cruise, you have this key. This key is supposed to help unlock supposed to be open up some special access that'll help us stop this entity. Are you going to help us stop this entity, or are you going to, are you going to come in but are fearful that one country can't have access to this entity because then this one country can control the entity? Are you going to do this yourself, or are you going to work with whatever United States? And then plot evolves from there. But that's basically a super simple formula for what this Mission Impossible 7 is all about.
Well, apparently, according to IMDb, the box office, just the U.S. gross numbers, not the worldwide. Mission Impossible grossed 77 million just for the U.S. and they're like number 2.
Wow.
Number 1, they were spanked though. Of course.
What could number 1 be?
Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
183 million.
Wow.
US
well, kids,
not world, but
yeah.
just like it's a kids movie. It makes sense, but wow. So apparently people agree with you. Like it's one of the better movies. It's a good ending, and at least they get an ending, unlike Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
No bitterness here though.
The next Mission Impossible or the renewed Wheel of Time.
Pretty
That's
much
the next movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at least with Mission Impossible, you did a good job of callbacks, closing out the series. And hopefully they'll do. They don't need to do a reboot if they want to make more Mission Impossibles with a new cast. I'm not against it. I mean, Tom Cruise is in the 60s. I have no problem with them introducing.
Is he?
He ain't our age. I
I know he ain't our age, but
let's see. Tom Cruise. How old is Tom Cruise?
He was an adult when we were kids.
62.
Yeah.
He's 62.
Wow.
I cannot see my dad or our parents running through the fields, jumping off of planes or whatnot. And Brad Pitt is 61. So these people are getting up there in age. Just they got a good surgeon to keep their skin tight. I mean, Tom. When you look at Tom Cruise, you look at the other cast of the actors that he played in other movies with, from Risky Business to Top Gun. He's the one that doesn't seem like age has affected him as much.
Yeah.
But no, back to Mission Impossible. It was a great movie. Kudos to Lilo and Stitch for kicking butt this weekend. I wasn't surprised because it's a well-known cartoon IP from Disney. I'm just hoping that the live action held up, and it's not going to be like the Snow White. It's not going to be like the Aladdin or the Lion King films that weren't as good as the cartoons.
Who knows?
Thinking of live action, I wonder if Robin Williams was alive, would they had used him as the genie in the live action version, or they had still went with Will Smith.
They might have tried to use Robin Williams, and then I'd be curious if they had used Robin Williams, would there have been as much hate for the movie?
I don't know if it was the hate because it's Will Smith, or it was just because it was just a bad movie overall.
I know a lot of people didn't like the musical choices.
I never got past the intro one where he's the street rat one when he's like running from the. I never made it past there. My son and I, we tried to watch on Disney Plus, years ago, and it was like, it looks so bad. Like he can notice it was green screening when Aladdin's running through the not tabletops but the rooftops. Like this looks, that's not it. Okay, we'll switch it off. We never went back. Okay, well I'd rather watch the cartoon.
The cartoon.
Yeah. The other films that came out, I still went and saw Sinners again. So we saw Sinners 2, not this weekend, but previous weekend. But Thunderbolts. My wife and I, we saw Thunderbolts in the theaters on opening weekend. I enjoyed it. It's not the best Marvel movie. Honestly, in comparison between that and Captain America, Brave New World or New World Order, or whichever you want to call it, I'd probably go with Captain America. I'll probably lean a little bit more closer to Captain America, only because I think we've grown accustomed to seeing Sam Wilson, Anthony Mackie's character, over the past almost 20 years since Civil War. Well, not Civil War, since Winter Soldier came out. So I'm used to him, and I enjoyed his progression and maturity from Falcon to Captain America. I think we did get a little bit of a disservice with the Red Hulk. I think it could have been better delivered. No offense to Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford is a great actor. I just thought that the Red Hulk. I just felt like it was rushed at the end of the film. Like, we got to throw something else in here. Let's throw the Red Hulk in here, and let's throw in Giancarlo Esposito's character too, real quick. Let's throw him in here as well. A lot was going on, but I still appreciated that film over Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts was fun. I think it probably had more laughs in it than anything else, and I think that's because of I forgot the actor's name, but he plays the Red Guardian. His relationship with Yelena, Florence Pugh's character, White Widow.
David Harbour?
Yes, Daniel Harbour. Yeah, Hopper from Stranger Things, that guy. Or Hellboy, if you remember from that too. But
let's just go with Harper from West
Coast. I mean, it had its moments. It had its moments, and I thought it was good. And, they are the Thunderbolts asterisk. For those who haven't seen it or who care, they actually are the new Avengers. At the end of the film, they are labeled as the new Avengers. They do take over the Avengers Tower in New York City. So the cast is Ghost, Red Guardian, Winter Soldier, White Widow. That's not Supreme. Sentinel, and who's the other person? Oh yeah, U.S. agent. Yeah, that cornball dude. I mean, I can't see him as my Captain America. He's just a cornball. Um, the film itself, I mean, the main bad guy was basically finding Sentinel's alter ego, his darker side. Um, it, I guess, for emotional sake, is I guess for people with PTSD and depression, it does talk about that lightly, but it wasn't one of the best Marvel movies. I think it's a good build up towards the next movie because the post credit. Kareem, you've seen the movie, right?
I saw it. I
Yeah.
saw it.
So,
Um,
do you care to see? Well, the post credit scene is they're in Avengers Tower. They got the new Avengers costumes on, looking all new, or Avengers with a Z, as David Harbour, the character, says, because of copyright infringement. It can't be called Avengers with an S. It got to be called Avengers with a Z on. Anyway, I mean that's the kind of comedy that was inside the film, which was cute. But at the end of the film, they get a warning. There's something coming in from interstellar space. They bring up the satellite footage, and it's the spaceship from Fantastic Four. You see the Fantastic Four spaceship coming into orbit. And then it goes off like that. So, but we don't know who's on the ship. So it could be the Fantastic Four. It could be Doctor Doom. We don't know who's going to be on that ship coming into this. Um, Actually, well, it's our universe, our
yeah, yeah.
616, right? So they did mention previously, though, that something else has happened in space. I'm presuming they're talking about um, Sword, but they don't mention Sword. They just say something else is happening in space. So that might be, we may see Sword referenced in Avengers Doomsday, but again, now to me, it was a big thing as far as Thunderbolts sets up a connection to the Fantastic Four movie somewhere down the line, whether it's the end of the movie, middle, or whatever. But at least these two movies are tied together. Other than that, you could afford to miss the movie.
See, and it's funny you say that because I honestly like Thunderbolts better than Captain America.
Really? Okay.
I did, but here's the thing. I like Captain America, Sam Wilson. I think it was his best portrayal to date of Captain America. I believe
Mm-hmm.
the beginning of the movie was fantastic. I did like the political ramifications, the international tension. Um, my issue with the movie was it fizzled out at the end. Not because they didn't have a lot of elements to make it a grand ending, but because they played it safe. There was nothing brave about it. And so to me it came off as everyone had a happy ending in a world where there was so much destruction. And that doesn't make sense to me. You
Mm-hmm.
have the Red Hulk who can level cities and I don't even remember how he stopped him other than he just stood in front of him. Maybe he, sang a lullaby, maybe he did something, and then the Red Hulk just relaxed. Um, but there wasn't a bad guy or a villain in the movie. We were just, oh hey, the only real one is the Red Hulk, but he was accidentally poisoned. He didn't really have bad intentions, and he really did fight against himself in order to save everyone. I don't like that. Like it's like trying to say, well, Thanos, yeah, he really had noble intentions in getting rid of half the universe, but here's his understanding of it, and then all he has to do is have Gamora talk to him, and he's fine again. No, we don't want to see that. We don't want to see that. And that's my problem with you literally have America and Japan shooting missiles at each other. And at the end of the day, it's just, oh yeah, everybody's cool, everybody's fine. No, that's too safe. And
Mm-hmm.
this is why I like the Thunderbolts better. Not because they didn't play it safe in a similar way, but because the way they had to approach their villain, they didn't have to play it as safe. So I did enjoy the portrayals of the characters. I did love the way they showed Sentry. I was concerned how they would translate Sentry from the comic books to the movie, and I think they did a fantastic job. In showing how strong he can be, but also how messed up he is. Right? You kind of don't want him, but you kind of need him, but you don't want him, but you need him. I really enjoyed that.
He's Superman pretty much. He's a Superman.
Exactly, exactly.
I don't think he has laser beams out his eyes, but they can't touch him.
But exactly, and his limitations is supposed to be just himself. Um, and I do think they did a great job in addressing mental health for a superhero movie,
Mm-hmm.
because we haven't really seen that. I mean, when you think about it, there's been kind of a hangover in terms of Marvel movies. It's like I'm a big Marvel fan. I see every single movie that comes out in the movie theater. Some have been, oh, this is cool, but then I forget about it. Some have been, oh yeah, I did enjoy that, but I don't watch it again.
Hmm.
And I think part of that is in game, the way that ended. Black Panther 2. There's a lot of emotional trauma, so to speak, in terms of the movies where we dealt with characters dealing with it. Thor: Love and Thunder probably could have dealt with some of this in a better way, but that was an absolute joke. Um, and so I think seeing Black Widow or Yelena dealing with this and the other characters dealing with this, it's like finally somebody's addressing the real aspect of what has happened in this world. Um, and even in terms of that internal struggle and the message that they were trying to give off, I think the majority of the characters in the movie, not U.S. Agent, I don't think he really went through, a transformation. But not everyone has
No,
to go through a
he's the same as he
transformation.
was in the Winter Soldier
Exactly.
Falcon series. Yeah.
And that's okay because everyone is not going to be a good guy in in a superhero movie. You need some people to not be, because then there's no one to fight against. But I did appreciate the way they handled that aspect of it, and they tied it into Sentry's character, the voice character, and confronting that. So I do think the overall movie was enjoyable from beginning to end without having to make excuses for the ending and
Mhm.
say, well, yeah, I thought they could have done more. I do think they handled the ending great. The only issue with it was when it came to real life politics, or so to speak, again, they played it safe. Where it's like Marvel, they don't want any of their characters challenging authority for real.
Mhm.
And this is why I think Winter Soldier was a great movie, but I can't see that happening nowadays. There's too much controversy, I think, in terms of whoever is making the movies. Imagine Captain America fighting the government, literally fighting the government. When was the last time you seen any superhero actually stand up to the government in a Marvel movie?
Well, she ain't a hero. Well, they usually paint her as a villain, like Valentina de Font, whatever, um, Elaine from Seinfeld, or whatever her character is. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
she's going against. I mean, she's part of the government. She's working for her own benefit, and like almost like a shadow op within the government, or Hydra, or whatever, however you want to say it. But yeah, there's so much stuff going on in the real world, so it's hard. Sometimes you won't use the fictional stuff like Marvel to escape realism. Um, but yeah, thinking about Marvel, I think the last one was like the other. I'm trying to remember which Avengers movie it was. Um, no, I think it was ended with Winter Soldier when they had Black Widow come in for the congressional hearing or whatever, and then she just walked out like, I'm gonna do whatever I want. Yeah, I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, that's not gonna fly.
yeah.
I mean, that's I mean, that's definitely Hollywood or whatever. I mean, nowadays we got these congressional hearings and they just lie straight to the Congress people's face, and
Exactly.
or feign it, or pretend to be ignorant of the rules and go along about the day. So yeah, it could be reality. I can, you got people in the current administration now that'll just lie right to the public or right to the Congress people's face, and not there's no repercussions for it. So they'll just keep on doing whatever they're gonna do.
Yeah. And that's to me is part of the issue because, like you said, this is a movie. It's fantasy. It's not reality. You read the comic books; they're fighting left and right with the government, the mayors, and like Daredevil. I mean, the mayor is Kingpin,
Hmm.
and they have to literally stand up against Kingpin. But the movies, you have someone who's the Red Hulk, um, and he's been poisoned, so to speak. But then it's like, well, no, he was literally keeping someone hostage. Um, he was trying to use the abilities in a way where he could get stronger. It's like they watered that entire storyline down. They took away
Yeah.
the obsession with the Hulk. They took away even tying into the name of the Thunderbolts. I did enjoy how they named it in the movie. I think it fit the storyline perfectly. But even the Thunderbolts not being called the Thunderbolts because of Thunderbolt Ross, it takes away from that. No, these aren't really good people. And this is a counter Avengers, and they're doing the dirty work that you can't have the Avengers do. It's like I don't know, it's like they're sanitizing so much of the story where it weakens the story or it weakens the effect of it. Whereas in
Hmm.
Thunderbolts, when they're dealing with the main story, they can focus on it because no one's rooting for the Void. No one wants the Void to win, so they can go all out against the Void,
Yeah.
and that's where it shines. It's when they get back to the okay, now the person who just tried to kill every single one of you, you're gonna line up for a photo op with her.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, they all want to be accepted. So you can say there is that emotional manipulation. But again, that's just like, come on, come on. Like everything is so neat at times. It's like that's not the reality. That shouldn't be the reality when it's coming to these fantasy or superhero movies. It's their very existence challenges their structure that they're trying to make them fit in. I mean, Civil War itself was about that. Where do they put in? Where do their superheroes fit in? Do they fit in as part of the government? Should they all be registered, or should they have their autonomy because they can do things the government can't do? And it's like they want people who watch the movies to completely forget about that natural dynamic that won't work out all the time.
Sure. Yeah,
But I do like Captain America better.
yeah, I
Not
say all
just
that
not
to
the
say,
overall movie, but I do need to see Sam Wilson as Captain America in a lot more
yeah,
movies. He killed that. He killed that.
I think he did a good job. I just I wouldn't put these two movies, these two Marvel movies that came out this year. I don't put them in the top 10 of Marvel MCU films whatsoever. Um, but I think they were necessary to push their timeline along in regards to all of these movies are tied to this one cinematic universe timeline. Now, if these were more or less independent films from one another, like this is in this world, this is happening, or not even at this world, this scenario doesn't tie into any previous films, then I think it'd be more interesting. But I think because they all tie into one another, that's why we can look at this one and say this is not doing enough for me to make me interested in what's going to come next.
Yeah.
No. Like the previous movies, like you can watch Civil War and be excited for the next time move. Okay, they just introduced us to Black Panther. I wonder what his backstory is, and then the next movie came out was Black Panther. Or you see, Thor 1, and it ties into an Avenger film, and now you see the Avengers come together. Things like that. Sam, Captain America's okay. I don't know what his next storyline is going to be, other than probably Doomsday. So we got another. It's not coming out 20. It's not coming out 2026. I
Yeah,
think they
like
moved
hasn't
In
everything
December.
delayed everything until for like a year or something? Like
No, they
everything been
moved it
pushed
like
back.
6 months. Like
Also,
six
it's going to
months
come out in
back.
the
It's supposed
winter,
to
so it's
be in
not going to come
December
out.
now. Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was coming 2027. Okay, so still another year, a little bit more than maybe another 18 months from now, but still some time. I think the next movie coming out will be Fantastic Four, which comes out in July, or is it June?
In July, but I might be a fool, but I think that's gonna be good.
I'm really hoping this
I
because
do.
this will be the fourth time they did a Fantastic Four movie. I really need to get this locked in because that one with Michael B. Jordan, I don't even know why they.
I have no memory of that movie. I'm not sure
Well,
what you're talking about. That was in a different. That was in a
my
multiverse.
timeline is different from your timelines.
Yeah, that was
Really,
in the
really, the
multiverse. That.
TVA needs to come and get me because I can't recall that. Shame on me. No, I think the only thing I liked about that one was they made the thing like a huge boulder looking creature monster. Other than that, that movie was trash. But we digressing off. Let's move off of movies. Let's go back to TV. We're gonna go to a safe place. Something we talked about timelines and things. And that's no better way and no better person to discuss timelines than a Doctor Who episode. So we're gonna jump into I guess what Kareem and Kay called the blackest of all Doctor Who episodes ever. It didn't air in February. If it did, it would have probably been super black. But Doctor Who, the story and the engine. Doctor Who travels to Africa. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, Lagos, Africa. Where it's nothing but black people. At least finally in this season, he mentioned I think once before, but at least he had the candid moment with his companion inside the TARDIS, talking about this is the first time me being as a black human, and I understand there's times and places that I can go that I'm not safe for me. And she but going to Lagos into this barbershop, even if I'm not going for a haircut, it's something about it that makes me feel special. Like and the person of color we kind of know what that is. Like even if I don't need to, I don't need to really know to go to the barbershop for long. As you can see, I ain't got much.
I'm sure they can just do a nice cleanup.
Go do a little trim, but make me look fresh, and I forget who I am. But you go to the barbershop and you can just spend some time and you can hours on end just talking about anything, whether sports, news, politics, whatever, or just popping junk. Everything can be done similar to at a hair salon. And women may go to a hair salon and do the same thing as guys may do at a barbershop. So people of color, we know what that is once he mentioned it. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I also saw that the writer for this episode is actually Inua Elams, which is an Nigerian African guy who is actually, I think he's the first black man to write one for the television series, and the fourth black writer overall for Doctor Who. So that's actually pretty cool. I guess he definitely put his stamp on this episode.
I didn't know that.
Google.
No. Also, the director was
like that doesn't sound like a white name. Let me look this up. And I could have been. He's
the director was also was also black. Makala McPherson. Jesus. So that's pretty cool. Like that's kind of awesome. Kareem, because your sister did say that this forced you to come home and watch it. That was the best thing in the world.
Yeah, you're right. One of my sisters did watch the episode before me. She's a big Doctor Who fan, and she was telling like you gotta watch this one. This is his best episode to date. He said this is the blackest Doctor Who episode I've ever seen. Sent all the memes. And she even said that this episode made her tear up. And I was like, nah, you're gassing it now. You're doing too much. Like, there's no way this episode is that good. And I have to say, I was very surprised. And this episode was that good. This is easily my favorite episode of Doctor Who with him as the Doctor. And it gave me a glimpse of how it probably should have been for his entire time as a Doctor. Now, obviously, every episode can't focus on what's happening in Africa, but it's not just the story. Where he says to the barber, like, this was supposed to be basically his safe space. And you said, as a black man, you go to the barber shop, like you that's supposed to be that place where they capture that mentality of, here is someone who he travels through time, he travels everywhere, he has so many different companions, and here's the one place that he had. And that moment hit where it's like, wow, this is what the Doctor is dealing with. And my issue is, it's been a mix for me in terms of his tenure as Doctor Who. I think he's done a great job with what he's been given, but I think the episodes have not been as strong because they focused on everything but making the Doctor the Doctor. This was the episode where I was like, yeah, that's Doctor Who. The companion was good. The storyline was excellent. Everything about it was memorable to me. And when I looked up everything after, and I said, it makes sense because there's certain things you don't have to show, you don't have to focus on. Where, yes, this was the blackest episode, but none of the characters, from what I can recall, said, I'm black, or this is Africa, this is how we do things. You just know how to make them exist. And make them exist and with their natural setting, natural personalities, where you're like, I feel the reality of this. Like, they're not checking off boxes. It was just an episode that I felt was done from the heart, and it gave the strongest Doctor impression because he was actually in this episode. He was actually in this episode, which you can't have the Doctor and show a strong portrayal of the Doctor if he's not in the episode. But I know Kim has a different take on that than I do.
I mean, I have a different take on the fact that because we've had very strong episodes throughout, especially New Who, that like from like 2005 forward, where they've been the Doctor's been dang near non-existent. Like for what most people will probably say is like one of the best New Who episodes was probably Blink, and the Doctor's in it for what, like 3 minutes? the whole episode is without the Doctor, and you don't feel like it's less of a Doctor Who show. So like I think you can still have a very great episode without the Doctor being in it. But that being said, actually, this was my favorite episode too, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. You can have a great episode, but not a whole season where the Doctor
Well,
is
I
absent.
blame the fact that this dude is doing a whole bunch of other stuff. The same way Chicky, because it didn't hit me that she was in because I didn't watch it. I didn't really, let's be honest, I didn't watch Andor until like the last 2 episodes of the second season, and I was like, wait, hold on, ain't that the chick from Doctor Who? And I was like, oh, that explains some things. So you know, I was like, that might be why like we had like the whole Ruby Sunday only episode, because she was probably filming what's it called? Andor.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she did die in Andor.
But
Though, right?
that's not a conflict anymore. Andor is not a conflict anymore.
I mean, true, but like this was all filmed because I watched one of the Unclassifieds. This was all filmed last year, like April. Because well, especially the episode that just played was like last April, like April like the 3rd week of April of last year. So I'm like, yeah, she was probably still filming Andor.
Yeah.
This was done, and there was like and he was probably still filming a bunch of other stuff too. It's like, well, hold on. So, but as for the episode, I thoroughly enjoyed it because it's the whole thing about who's really the keeper of stories. Is it the gods who the stories are about, or is it about the storyteller who connects that bridge between the gods and us? And it was, it's gonna sound weird. It's kind of like, don't be mad at what I'm gonna say. It's kind of like the way in Sinners, how what's the name is the griot. It's like who really brings it? Who holds the magic? The gods or the storytellers? How it ended, kind of jacked, but like, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I do still have questions like who was that little girl that she saw in the thing, and I'm like, who's the child? The fact that it was, for better or worse, it was like a 1-room episode, and I thought they did so well with it. Having the Doctor show up and say, like, especially that betrayal. I've actually been having a conversation with somebody recently about how it is that our generation and younger, we no longer have those connections. We don't have our spaces where we can just be ourselves and commiserate with ourselves. Like we don't have the places where like you have the barbershops, but like, do you just like again, I can't answer about that part, but like for the barbershop, like, do you still have that communal feeling? Like, does the barbershop feel the same to you as an adult as it did as a kid? Like for me, going to a hair salon, it doesn't feel the same. Like a hair salon today is not what I grew up with. And like, it's kind of like him almost feeling like that loss of that third space for him. And I was like, yo, it makes sense. Cause it was like a feeling that I couldn't put my own words to. Cause I'm like, it's how I feel. But I'm like, that makes sense. Also, I did like the fact that we got somebody that came back. Now I was like, yay! It was so cool. I will always be glad that they bring her back. She can constantly come back every time, every season. Just give me one episode of her, even if it's like 15 minutes. Just give me one episode, and I'm golden. I'm super happy. I also really enjoyed like the visuals. Like you felt like you were there. Like it's not necessarily probably an accurate depiction of what Lagos is. Lagos. Sorry, people. I am American and I'm from New York, so I get stuff right. But it's the feeling of like you felt like you were actually there. Like it felt like I was in. Like I could almost smell the smells, which sounds creepy, but. Like you could almost like it felt like you could like the bustling of people. Like you felt like you were being hit. Like you feel like you could be in there, and there was just something so amazing about it. And it's not a culture that I am part of because again, Black American. But it felt like through this, you felt like you were part of that culture. You felt like you were part of those spaces, and the stories that he's telling, even telling of all the different gods that he's told the stories of, and well, while he said he was those gods, but like even those stories, you're just like, it's familiar. It's familiar to anyone that's without a place and they found their community. Again, it was just a great episode. It was definitely, I'm glad it was not written by the normal writers. Because I think if the normal
Absolutely.
writers had tried to do something like this, it would have came off disconnected and there would have been a lot of false ringing to it. So just like, I'm glad they did it. I'm glad the people who were involved. Again, I still want to know who the little girl was, and we only got like an episode left, and I don't think we're gonna get that answer, which is pissing me off.
Yeah.
But
We might get somewhat of an answer. But you just made me think of something. You said you're glad it wasn't the regular writer because I think there is a disconnect with the regular writers and what they want to do with this doctor. Um, to me, the barbershop does feel the same way as when I was a kid, probably because I've been going to the same barbershop my
okay.
whole life, pretty much. And now my
That's still
son goes to
iffy.
that same barbershop, so it does remind me of that. Um, but you just reminded me of this episode did give him some character development that was independent of other characters. Um, and that's something that has been, in my opinion, sorely lacking with this iteration of the Doctor. It's like they're so afraid to develop his character as the Doctor outside of what we've been given with previous iterations that they're making him seem like he's very hollow. Um,
Yeah.
even in the last episode, the part one of the season finale, there's a moment where um, the episode to me was okay, but there's a moment in the episode where when it's time for us to get the usual, oh, the doctor is going to handle it, or someone, the companion is going to handle it, someone is going to address it. Instead of showing him, they had to show the previous doctors. And when they showed the previous doctors in that flash, you said, oh, yes, this is Doctor Who. And I didn't have an issue with that in general. But I think the problem is they can't show him and inspire you with that same confidence that they would if they show all the previous iterations because they have not made him the hero or the doctor in the majority of the episode. And I think they've done him a big disservice with that. Where even in this, like he couldn't remember in that last episode that, oh yeah, tables don't do that. It's just simple things where they have to always, it's subtle at times. Whereas in the story in the engine, even with others contributing everything to it and helping them all succeed, he still felt like the doctor.
I guess because we didn't discuss the episode that came after, but it does, him not remembering it does make a lot of sense. For now that we know, like, because we know what the Ronnie did, like, for better or worse, the Eurovision Song Contest episode, uh,
I like
which
that
we have not,
episode actually.
which is like which is a very good fun episode. And I'm glad that they released the song of the little thingy going. I'm not doing it here. Forget it. You can find it online. They did release it as an actual song, and it's probably one of the best Eurovision songs that came out this year anyway. Sorry, that sounds rude because some countries did very good jobs. Not all, but but him forgetting because him not knowing because he's in the trap that the Ronnie sent created was smart. And it's not the first time we've had a doctor who doesn't remember himself. Because John Smith was what Tennant did. The plus side though, at least Martha's not there having to be a servant because okay, I'm sorry, that's gonna be my own, like, yeah, that's, see, we're bringing bitter memories for me. So I don't mind that he didn't know who he was because it was a trap. And I think that is perfect. Like, what do you revert to? And the fact that I thought people sooner would have been like, yo, why does it, like, I'm nowhere near this thing and it's just breaking and no one, okay, sure. But that episode was actually really good. I still think my favorite episode is the story one, but then I like the Eurovision one, and this one, the last one that just happened, was really good too. It's just, I feel like it's gonna sound rude. We're bringing it to a conclusion too fast because we had stories that we didn't necessarily need this season, and now I feel like we're rushing to an end. If that makes any sense.
It does, and it makes perfect sense to me. Um, and that's been my overall issue, because he's been great as a doctor. Um, it's just I don't know, they've been reluctant to give him those moments, um, that every doctor has had. Uh,
Yeah.
and like I said, I was enjoying the last episode, the build up, but then when they showed that glimpse, it just reminded me of, oh yeah, that's why they can't show him. Um, Whereas if it was David Tennant, for example, I'm not comparing the two, but they would have been able to just show David Tennant make a face, you know,
Yes.
and then you could say, oh yeah, the doctor's getting serious now. For him, they had to show other doctors to say, oh yeah, the doctor's getting serious now. It's not about him remembering himself because the doctor has forgotten himself in the past. It's
Right.
just in the story in the engine episode, they didn't have to show another doctor to say, "Oh yeah, the doctors get serious now." They don't know how to show this doctor getting serious, where where they're allowing him to put his stamp on the Doctor Who lore. And that's my concern. Um, I don't want to go back to Star Wars, the last set of movies, but I think there's a pattern where we get told he's a Jedi, he's a black Jedi, he may be a Jedi, and then no, he's not a Jedi, and then oh no, he's just a janitor, but he's gonna be a hero. But no, he's not a hero. He's really chasing people. And it's like, okay, what is he? And it's like this where you have the doctor, and
Okay.
then it's like he's being reminded of simple things by the some Bridgerton guy. Um, and it's like that's subtle, but in my opinion, deliberate. And that's
Mhm.
the problem. Where let him be the doctor. He doesn't have to do everything by himself, but we know what it means to be the doctor. Let him be the doctor.
But did you okay? So I mean, we're not talking about the Interstellar song contest, but like when he goes in that one where he, as he says, you've left a sliver of ice in my heart.
Yeah,
I think that was a great doctor moment. Like
yeah,
that's the doctor that all of the villains have said this is who he is.
yeah,
That like he had his true, the doctor isn't the nicest person that you think he is kind of moment, and he excelled in that.
yeah.
Bringing back his granddaughter was great. Because it's always nice to see Susan. Like that was like, oh, you're gonna show her. I'm sorry. So like I think to me it was like that was a very good moment, and that was his, like all, like almost every doctor has had a serious moment where like we see the fire, we
Hmm.
see the homicidal maniac, like we
Yeah,
see the dude who can
yeah,
kill people with no real thought. And I think his moment, out of all of the newer ones, I think I liked his moment the best, because all this time, like we've seen him give a tear, like he's cried a little bit for all the things that he's had to endure, and for all the things he's like, I'm gonna just let it go. But in that moment where he thought, and he was just like, yo, I can kill you, and the fact that he was still doing it, like he was just like he just, it was beautiful.
yeah. It was. I agree. That's why I like that episode. And I like the last episode, but they took that moment away from him in this last episode,
They
where
did, but I think that was because again he's under, it's a dream world. He's under a spell. Like
I don't think it's because it's the dream world. I think it's because it's subtle.
okay,
It's who's the hero in that one? Who's the one that came out of nowhere to remind him? I mean, they
Mhm.
had his wife calling the cops on him, which is okay. It's the dream world, but I
yeah,
think it's deliberate and it's subtle. Where the reminder about cables don't do that. They didn't have to add that because then it took away, in my opinion, it took away from the doctor at least coming to his senses to some extent. But now here's this random person who I didn't like the character initially because it's a reminder of how you have someone who's basically human explaining to the doctor what aliens are. I didn't like that. It's and now you're bringing that back in one of the biggest moments after really big and great episodes, in my opinion, where they let him be the doctor.
okay,
Now it's like, oh yeah, now I'm going to be subservient to this Bridgerton guy again. I don't like that. That's how it comes off to me. It, it,
okay.
it's the Bridgerton guy is the hero. He's the one that we all should strive for. Just like in Star Wars, even when the guy is a genocidal maniac, he's still the most desirable and the biggest superhero. It's a pattern to me. And that's just my opinion about it.
We got one more episode left. We got one more episode left. So we gotta see these out. And Hanif has to watch them.
Yeah, what was the last one you saw? I'll make sure I watch it.
Wait, did you see the song contest one?
No. I'm far back. I got 3 episodes. I have at least a full week before the newest episodes come out, right?
Okay.
Yeah. He didn't finish the story in the engine yet.
I'm sorry, what?
I had to tell her.
Dude, what you mean you ain't finished it yet?
I started watching it this morning.
Okay, we're gonna move on now. We're gonna move to summer conventions because what I want to say, I can't say, and
Well, you're lucky because I wasn't gonna watch it. I was gonna watch it later on. Kirsten was like, "No, you should watch it before you start recording." I was like, "Oh, I'll watch it later," but she said, "No, you at least watch some of it now, so at least you know what the heck is going on."
We're gonna slap the crap out of you. Great. I hope she hits you. I hope she hits you. I think I should. If she's in earshot, please slap the crap out of her.
Let me put you on mute real quick.
Violence is appreciated in this situation.
So we're moving away from violence and we're moving away from Doctor Who. We're going to close out talking about summer conventions. So now that Memorial Day, the MomoCon just finished. DreamCon is coming up at the end of this week, which is the last week of May, first weekend of June. New York Comic Con will be doing their summer pre-sale, I believe, in June for their fall convention. These prices are we can't blame tariffs for prices going up. New York Comic Con has increased their prices again. I remember the good old days of the 4-day passes being maybe $90 for a 4-day pass.
I
think now the 4-day pass is $200 $250 I think for a 4-day pass.
$260 or something like that.
For 4 days, and every single day pass is $80. So Sunday and Thursday used to be like cheap, $50 here, $40 here, because no one goes on those days. Now every day is the same price. I'm for sure I'm not going all 4 days. I'm not sure if I'm going to go just Thursday or if I'm just going to go on Sunday. But one of those 2 days, the lesser of the two, is the days that going to be the day I go to New York Comic Con. I can't do the $320 or $260 for a 4-day pass anymore. Not for New York Comic Con. I love it and all, but I
lost their mind. They're literally like, I'm sorry, like New York Comic Con is literally out of their freaking mind. Why are you charging? I can understand Friday and Saturday being $80. Not really, but I will justify that. But Sunday's a short day. Thursday's a short day. Why are you charging full prices for a short day? Like,
and Thursdays and Sundays worse because it's Kids Day, so you're gonna have even more little people there. You gotta watch out for strollers, watch out for little children and stuff. That makes it more crowded. So even if it's a shortened day, it's probably gonna be almost as crowded as Saturday.
Yeah.
Right.
So
and
they need to make sure that they have panels or guests that'll make you want to come to Thursday and Fridays, because you can't have the blockbuster panels with the cast of Wheel of Time or the Firefly reunion on a Saturday, but then on Thursday and Sunday it's like we got somebody. I mean, just I don't even, because right now we don't know who's going to even show up. Unfortunately, with convention schedules, that schedule for who's supposed to show up or who they've asked to show up won't come out until after tickets are probably already sold out. Like this. Well, this is how they normally operate. I've never been to San Diego Comic-Con. I don't even know what the prices for San Diego Comic-Con tickets are, but I'd like to believe that all 4 days are wall to wall. Something's going on, because it's in California, it's near Hollywood, so they're going to bring out a lot more A-listers to those events. But I also, at the same time, I can't wait on lines that I'm outside I'm waiting in the line for 2 hours for a panel. Let me just see the show floor. I'm at the point now where I may not even go to a panel. Let me just see the show floor. Let me see the artist alley. If I feel like going to a panel to sit down and take a nap in the back,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I don't like the panels. So I do plan on going all 4 days.
Hmm.
I don't know how much longer I'll do all 4 days if the prices keep going up, but I do agree Thursday, to me, Thursday is one of the best days to go now.
Yep.
You get to see everything. You pretty much get to buy what you want to buy without having to worry about lines being too long. But I don't understand why Sundays are the same price. Like you said, the day ends earlier. A lot of stuff is gone, but also a lot of people who attend the convention are most likely tired on Sunday, so you don't even
Hmm.
get to see the cosplayers. You don't get to see some of the activities around the convention center. But if you're going to keep raising the prices, then they have to improve the system to be able to get into some of these panels. And you have to have more panels available besides the ones that you just have to win the lottery for. Because if you pay $80 for a Saturday and you're there Thursday and Friday, you probably have what you want. Um, and Saturday, you're not going to be able to buy as much as you want to buy without waiting
Hmm.
on a very long line. So if you're on there for a Saturday and you've been there Thursday and Friday already, you may want to see panels, you may want to do photo ops. Um, so if you don't get into those things, your day is going to end even earlier. And then what?
Exactly.
Um, and everything's going up. Vendor prices are going up. So it's like you really have to get what you want to get in those first 2 days. But if ticket prices ever hit $300 for a 4 day pass, then yeah, that's probably it for the 4 day
Well, it's
pass.
about. It's probably going to. Also, I looked up San Diego. San Diego doesn't, according to what I see on their website, you don't get a 4 day pass. Like you can buy a 4 day pass. But once if you buy all 4 days, it transitions to a 4 day pass. But like
So basically, you
this,
buy four single day passes.
yeah, if you get Thursday to Sunday, according to their website, if you purchase all 4 daily badges Thursday through Sunday, they will automatically be converted into a 4 day badge. So I guess maybe you can't buy a 4 day one,
Okay. But what
which I
what
guess
are
is smart.
the
But
what
like
are the
their
dates?
prices are 80, 80, 80, and then Sunday is $60.
Okay, so Sunday's the cheapest day because it's probably it's probably an early day closing things out. So it's pretty much what New York Comic Con single day prices are. So New
But
York Comic Con is matching San Diego Comic Con's
no,
single day
because San
price.
Diego is better. Absolutely not, because San Diego has junior/military and senior discounts.
They don't have that for
So if you're a
I
junior,
don't think New York Comic Con has military discounts. North seniors, and then they had the kids there. I don't know how much those prices are, but that's limited to Sunday.
so like Thursday, so if the junior, military, or senior discount is $40 per
Mm-hmm.
day, and then $30 for Sunday. So it's half the price.
Mm.
Hey, New York Comic Con, maybe you want to think about this, because to me, you're charging, again, this is just rude. It's $800 for VIP for New York, Kick Rocks, $260 for a 4 day ticket. And again, this is all without tax.
800. I'm not. I know you get it's supposed to be able to get into certain panels and stuff like that. That gives you a reserved seating inside a certain like the main halls, exhibition, or whatever the main stage areas, which is cool. Which for $800, you'd like to believe that's going to be held. But again, for me, for my personal needs, I'm good with not going every day. I'm no longer doing the Funko Pop collection, so that's
Yeah.
a whole area that I don't even I can walk by just to see what people are doing, but I no longer have to sit on those hour-long lines for Funkos because I don't collect them anymore. So I was, again, like Kareem said, just cruising the show for on Thursday, maybe even do it on a Sunday when you could probably bargain some things. But I'm fine with hitting the show floor on the Thursday, see what people got, be able to actually talk to some vendors because it might not be as busy. And then look for the exit because if there's no panels, I think the only panel I enjoyed on Thursday was Black Nerd Problems. I think that's the one I recorded, and they talked about they had the debates on which was better, certain things on Broadway and other Marvel and stuff. And that was a fun panel. Hopefully they come back and do another Thursday because it was a small room, maybe 20 attendees, and we got got there nice and early. I was able to talk to them afterwards as well. So I enjoy panels like that where you can actually have a conversation with some of the hosts afterwards. I'll be able to ask questions. It's not one that's so full, and it's just like I can't even ask a question because it's going to be a line of 15 people probably asking maybe the same question. So
Yeah, yeah. And one price that we forgot was the superfan price. So in order to even be guaranteed the opportunity to get a ticket, you have to pay what is it, extra $100 to be
yeah,
able to
the,
get
the
the sale
pre-sale,
ahead
yeah,
of
yeah,
time. Yeah.
pre-sale.
Um, so it's really 360 for a 4-day pass if that's what you're trying to get.
Actually, thanks for reminding because I got to go and cancel my pre-sale, that super fan. Like if I can't get it, because I can see if by you getting the super fan price, you get a discounted rate because you're early to buy, like 5%
Yeah.
or even 2% off, no tax or whatever, $5 off the processing fee. Okay, but I'm like I said, I pay $100 to have access to this ticket, which oftentimes you don't even get the VIP. I don't even go into the back end of VIP, but I get my Friday ticket. Boom, still the same price as those who didn't get Superfan. I'm just that $100 is supposed to allegedly guarantee me the ability to get my ticket, the number of tickets I desire. Nah, I'm good. If I don't get in, I don't get in. Um, it won't be the first convention I missed.
And there's like the thing is, there's so many conventions that happen in the summertime that like even if it's people that you like that'll eventually maybe come to New York Comic Con, you in some instances you're better off going to another state to go to a different convention versus.
Oh yeah, and there's plenty, especially black-owned conventions. You got BlurCon. Well, BlurCon moved to March, so that's March 2026. You got, again, we mentioned DreamCon happens this weekend, the beginning of June. I don't think it's not a black-owned, but it's in New York City. So you have Brooklyn Comic Con, which happens June 7th, I think, June 4th, which is I think the first or second full weekend in June. You still have Anime NYC. Like Kay mentioned, there's
I
other
think there's HBCU Con.
HBCU Con is a 21 and over event. So they will have vendors and stuff, but I feel like it's going to be. I don't know. I guess I have to see the pictures or videos of it taking place. I'm not sure if it's going to have a big show floor. Or is it going to be more of a party atmosphere with vendors there as well, since it's going to be a 21 and over thing. You also have Atlantic Comic Con, which is in I think Norfolk, Virginia. That's I think black owned. I think Greg from Tuskegee Airs and someone else organizes that one. But that one, I think that one is in middle of the summer or closer to the end of summer, maybe in August, I believe. But yeah, like Kay says, there's some. If you're going to spend that much money, maybe check out conventions outside the state, because you may have a better experience. Now, C2E2 is also a Reed Pop, same pricing, but the show floor is much, much bigger. Like what you get at New York Comic Con is probably half the show floor of what is at C2E2. And that's because the convention center in Chicago is the biggest convention center in the nation. So it's a huge thing. And they don't even use the entire facility. That's how insane this thing is. Like they only use half of this facility, and it's already bigger than the Javits Center, including all the new stuff the Javits Center added.
Like, okay, so check this. So I just started looking on like other conventions that are around the country. Like for the 4th of July, you could go to Anime Expo in California, and the 4-day ticket price, $157.
And that's always packed. Anime Expo is always packed. You could look on Instagram. There's always videos of people just like stuck inside the LA Convention Center lobby. Like it's just so packed with people. Right. So
and like you don't have to be stuck with the bigger convention. That sounds rude. You don't have to be stuck with a Reed Pop convention. You can go to other conventions because they're just as good. They may not have like the celebrity you may want there. Like, sure, they may. What's his name? I don't know. The dude, Anakin Skywalker may not be there. Ahsoka may not be there, but like you'll have other people, and you're just like, you'll probably be guaranteed
what you're looking for. Yeah, because if you're not looking for the celebs, then maybe New York Comic Con may not be for you. But if you're looking
go
for
some place where your money can last.
Sure. What's your budget? Like, because honestly, New York Comic Con is great for a lot of comic book creators, as far as being able to see them, because a lot of those creators are in New York City in the tri-state area. So that would be great. If you're looking for, maybe I want a commission, I want someone to draw some personalized artwork for me. And I think that's probably something I may be looking to do going forward, is to get more commission artwork done as opposed to Funkos, because that's one of one. I get something unique made.
Right. Definitely, I would say if you're looking for a con for the summer, don't try something fun. Like go someplace that you may not have, you wouldn't normally think of going, and just see what it is, because you might find yourself having way more fun at something like a smaller con versus the masses. I mean, maybe not Anime Expo, but if you're into anime and a whole bunch of music, they have the anime song contest, so the anime song contest every year, so maybe do that. But
yeah, actually there's a in Harlem, June 14th is Harlem Festival, so it's going to probably, like what the Schomburg used to do, Black Comic Book Festival inside, they're going to do it outside now. It's going to have some more street vendors and stuff, so we'll be there with Otaku Noir. Jersey City is having a Jersey City Black Comic Con convention the following Saturday, June 21st. A smaller thing, I think it's only like 20 vendors in the Bethune-Cookman Convention Center. I think it's almost like a library in Jersey City. I don't even know what the admission is. I think the admission may be free because it doesn't mention anything on the flyer. But June 21st, that's something. If you're in Jersey or Jersey City, that's something that people can stop by and partake in.
And if you're willing to travel, look around. If you're willing to go out the country, look around. Well, maybe not, because coming back.
If you go out the country, you may not be able to get back in.
Yeah.
As far as going out the country right now.
If you leave the country, make sure you have the complexion to do so, to get back in without a problem.
Yeah, because
just sorry that.
Never
sorry
know what will happen while you're out of the country.
Exactly.
Right. Sorry for making it a little surreal, people.
Yeah. On that joyous note, we're going to end our episode of the Three Hokages podcast. We're your hosts, Kay, Kareem, and Hanif. Have a good one.